Arlene Herson, and I'm glad you can join me this evening because my guest tonight is a woman who is not only an Academy Award and Tony-winning actress, but also a symbol of victory and hope. In her autobiography, As I Am, Patricia Neal shares her incredible story of being on the top of the world one day and a totally devastating stroke the next, of losing a child and the breakup of her marriage. How she survived and has gone on to help others survive is the kind of life legends are made of. My guest is Patricia Neal. We'll meet her right after these messages, so please stay right there.
What if you had to choose between a flower and an elephant? What would you choose? What if you had to decide between a 100-year-old tree and a 1,000,000-year-old beach? Could you choose between drinking clean water or breathing clean air? Now you can choose all these things. EarthShare, the world's leading environmental groups working together. It's one choice we can all live with.
Tom, where you going? Man, we got a ball game here. Pardon me.
Pitcher got a rubber arm. It's has. Huh? Pitcher has a rubber arm.
If education is important to you, talk to your child's school about raising academic standards. Call 1-800-38-BE-SMART for a free booklet and be a big league parent.
On January 8th, Amy Narvajo was saved from freezing to death by the National Guard. Were it not for their employers giving them the time to answer the call, this story might have had a different ending. To every employer who supports the Guard and Reserve, thanks for making us your business.
Over 2 million acres of our wildlands burn each year, and hundreds of homes are lost as a result.
At least 50 homes were burned to the ground. Dozens more were damaged as fires raced through dense brush and steep canyons.
Flames don't know the difference between forest, rangelands, and homes. Learn how you can fireproof your home. For more information, contact your local fire protection agency, state forestry office, or the USDA Forest Service.
I'm Arlene Herson, and we're back with my very special guest, Patricia Neal. And thank you again for spending time with us, because you are a remarkable woman.
Thank you. I love that compliment.
And I still think that there you are in a movie called An Unremarkable Life. And actually, we're going to talk about the movie, and we're going to show some clips later on in the show. But I want to talk about the remarkable Patricia Neal. You know, now, all the things that you have gone through. I mean, we know that you are a movie actress. You have won an Academy Award. But you have also gone through some terrible, terrible things and some wonderful things in your life. You were at the top of your career, an Academy Award winning actress.
Just won it.
You had just won it. When actually your whole life changed in an instant. What happened?
I had gone to do a film with the genius John Ford, and I had come to make this, and I was pregnant at the time, though no one knew it, and they were late in starting. They were 3 weeks late in starting this film, which was a little tricky with my pregnancy. And I came home, we started shooting. I think I'd shot either 3 or 4 days. And I came home one night and was giving Tessa, my eldest daughter, her bath when I had this most tremendous stroke. I know that Roald, he came up with a drink for me. When he saw me, and he knew exactly what had happened. I mean, he really should have been a doctor, because he knew, and he called exactly the right doctor, Dr. Charles Carton, who was a neurosurgeon, and he sent an ambulance for me, and they took me to the hospital, and I had 3 massive strokes that night.
And as a matter of fact, many people didn't think you would survive.
Oh, no.
Your obituary even appeared in some papers.
I like that. I think that's fun, don't you?
Yes, right. There are not many of us that can read our obituary and years later look back and laugh at it. You mentioned something even before we go into that devastating part of your life, but you mentioned that he happened to have the name of a neurosurgeon there.
Yes. Well, I wanted to tell you that the producer of The Man Who Did Breakfast at Tiffany, his brother-in-law was Dr. Charles Carton. And I had known him very well because they were staying together while I was doing the film, and Ruel had met him. And he talked to him the day before about the valve that Ruel had worked on with the hydrocephalic. And
well, I just want to stop you there because
yes.
you're talking about a valve that's very important, which is
Yes.
why I was bringing up the doctor in the first place, why you happen to have known him. Because tragedy struck you before then, which is how you happen to know this doctor, because your son,
yes,
when he was an infant.
And he was 4 months old, he was hit by the taxi.
Okay, in his carriage crossing the street
That's
with the
right.
nurse?
Yes.
And I understand had to have 8 brain operations?
Well, I don't think, 6, I think. 6.
Okay, it was this doctor who was working on what, a special device that your son needed with your husband?
No, he wasn't. It's just that he was a brain doctor. But no, Ruel, he had worked on it with another one in England. But he knew this doctor, and he called exactly the right one, you know. Because I think he'd been talking to Charles Carton about the day before, about this valve, which you put in a brain with this hydrocephalic. As you know what that is.
Okay, I don't know what it is, and I don't
brain.
think our audience do, but because your son had this terrible trauma to his
Yes.
brain, he had to have a tube that had to be
Yes.
drained. And that it kept on getting clogged, and your
Yeah.
husband said, hey, there's got to be a better way.
Yes.
And this is the tube you're talking about. He found a better way. And there
That
were
he and 2 other people, well, 1 other man worked on it. And they do have it, and it's very good.
Wow, okay, so you happen to have had the right person to call because of the fact that
Yes.
you were keeping in touch with him because of your son. So what happened to you? I mean, you were in a stroke, you had a stroke, you were taken to the hospital. Were you aware of what was going on?
Oh, no. I have no awareness of it at all. I do not remember that day at all. I just know that it's just that Ruel, he's talked about it so many times, and everybody else has talked about it so many times. It's like I remember it, but I don't really have any, it's not in my head.
But you went through a long period of time. I mean,
Yes.
there you were, you had lost power of speech. When you finally did come back,
Yes.
you said you had no mind, really. You didn't know
None
how to
at
do
all.
things. You were partially paralyzed.
Yes.
But yet, the story of you and your husband, who you were married to for 30 years, and how you survived that, and how then you came back, not only to go into motion pictures, but to receive another Academy Award nomination. We're going to take a break, because I don't want to stop you in the middle, because I want to find out, you know, this miraculous recovery is incredible. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. We're speaking with Patricia Neal. We'll be back after these messages. Stay right there.
We know we can count on you to do what Smokey says. Smokey says!
Only you.
No, you don't play with matches. That's not cool. Tell mom and dad to break them, stop them. Yeah, that's the rule.
And when your folks desire to build a fire, clear brush and branches away, and keep water nearby like you oughta.
Did someone say otter?
We're all counting on you.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Someone once said, we all come into this world alone, and we leave the same way. But in between, we have the chance to connect and help each other, to find ways you can do something to connect with the people in your community. Call the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
George, watch the Gosling swim.
They swam, they swam.
From birth to age 3 are the most important years in a child's brain development. The time that defines who they become.
They saw a little baby.
On the big highway of life, there's only one safe place for kids.
Backseat, baby.
The front seat's not the place to drop off. Don't want that big old bag to pop up.
Backseat, baby.
Put that booties in the backseat now.
Backseat, baby.
Have that kids you never meet. I'm here to remind you to put them behind you.
Backseat, baby.
Wow! Look at here.
Backseat, baby.
You stay alive even when I drive.
I'm Arlene Herson, and my guest is Patricia Neal. You know, you are doing so much today. It's almost incredible to think about what you were like in those days. But to have had a stroke, to have been completely devastated the way you were, how did you get your strength back?
Oh, I don't know. It's just that I do think that one is made the way one is made. And I have always been a gutty woman. I don't quite know. But in my youth, I was, you know, very, if you did wrong, baby, watch out, you know. I was one of those women. But, you know, it's just that I refused to, there were times when I was so angry, I've tried to think of how I could kill myself, but I wouldn't have. I really wouldn't have, because I didn't really want to know, because I didn't really want to die.
Yeah. And you also had children at home,
Oh,
and
yes.
you also were pregnant.
Yes.
And I might add that you did come out of the stroke and you gave birth to a very healthy
Yes.
child, another girl.
I would never have done it with a child in my body.
Yeah.
I would never have taken my life. But when she was born, that's when I did want to. But, you know, I don't know how long it lasted, for about 6 months or a year. But now, oh, I'd hate to die. I really would. I love life.
Oh, well, it certainly is good that you didn't then. You know, it's funny because you kind of wonder if in reading your book, As I Am, your autobiography, you mentioned that years ago you were with a date, and I don't know if it was a carnival, I don't remember the circumstances, but a fortune teller said to you, you're going to have trouble with your head.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you believe in those
I
kind of...
just don't know how these things happen. But I have had I've heard some fascinating things from fortune tellers.
Can you share it with us?
Well, no, no, but she really did it. You know, I mean, that time, I mean, I was going with Peter Cookson then, who, she was dear fortune teller who's in New York now, and she told Peter, she said, Peter, you will marry someone so rich, you have no idea. Well, he married Beatrice Straight, who's very rich. And me, she said, you are going to, something in your head, you're going to have problems with it. And yeah, this was years ago, she told me.
Wow, gee, can we find that fortune teller? I have a couple of things I want to ask. Okay, but speaking about premonitions, just another thing that it's a delicate thing to bring up, because the loss of a child is terrible. But when you were in England, your eldest daughter at the time had gotten measles. I mean, everybody has, you know, there's a vaccination here in this country. You tried to get it in England. It wasn't available. Did you have any idea that measles could cause that terrible?
Oh, yes, I did, and I knew that I could get an injection for my son because of the damages that had happened to him. But they would not let me have one for either one of my daughters, even though Rual's brother-in-law, he was Sir Ashley Miles was his name, and he was very looked up to as a doctor, and another one, you know, but no one could get it for me. They said, we just can't get it, and let them have it. It'll be good for them. Well, it was not good for Olivia, and she tragically died from it.
From an infection because of the measles, a complication.
Yes.
So anybody out there that has children that can get a measles vaccination obviously should get it.
Oh, yes. It is a very dangerous disease. Some people, it kills.
Yeah. unfortunately, you know, and it was not too long after that, as a matter of fact, that you had your stroke.
I'm just trying to figure out how long it was. I guess about 3 years, I think.
Wow. Well, anyway, the story of how you came back after your stroke, of how you and your husband worked together. I mean, he was there by your side, pushing you on, making you go out, even when you didn't want to go out.
Oh, yeah.
And you said that that was your survival.
Mm-hmm.
He was a man who you said you didn't love when you married him, yet you were married 30 years.
Oh, but I mean, I began to love him. I mean, I was very, you know, there were many years of real love. Many years.
Well, which I found from the book. I mean, the closeness that brought you together, and there was love. So what happened then after you went through so much together, when finally, one day, of course it doesn't happen one day, when he tells you we've been married 30 years, and now I'm going off with a younger woman, and I don't want to be married to you anymore?
It's a little agonizing, but it happened, and there's nothing I could do, though, about it, nothing. And he's married now, and happily married, I think.
And you have gone on, actually, now you're single this time in your life.
And I love it.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's it
well,
like
I love
now?
It.
Do you?
Oh, it's sensational. It's so much better than being married at my age, because, you know, children growing up, and they're good. And now I can go on trips. I can make speeches. I can, you know, I mean, life is, and I love to work, and I can hardly wait to get jobs, you know. I mean, marriage is, I mean, there was a time in my life when marriage was sensational and lovely, but now, I mean, I don't want to be married anymore. I really don't. I mean, I love my life as it is.
Well, actually, and you're doing some interesting things. I have to say, you're in a movie, which I mentioned earlier, called An Unremarkable Life.
Yes.
This remarkable woman in that movie. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to talk about the movie, and we're even going to show a clip.
We better talk about this movie, because it's a good movie.
Okay, and even a clip. So we'll be right back. We're speaking with Patricia Neal. We'll be right back after these messages.
10,000 eyes are on me.
Do it, Casey, do it.
Shouting, Casey, go all the way.
Casey, do it. Score. Come on, Casey.
First base, second base, third base. Make your move today. Do it, Casey, do it.
Do it, Casey.
Score mighty, Casey, score.
Score.
I just don't get it. Is that what girls are for?
Must I, Amanda, take this guy to have and to hold, to go out with and make out with, to be together and sleep together, to go all the way, 'cause they say he'll walk away, unless I do.
If you don't talk with your kids about sex, who will? Our free booklet can help.
What are you gonna take?
Algebra.
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 If no one's explained how algebra, geometry, and calculus can improve your future, demand that you be told. Call NACME. We'll tell you.
I could never have asked for more. I could not have had a better child. He gave me all the love and all the joy a parent ever hopes to get from a child. I want people to remember my daughter's face. I want them to remember her name. How many more Elizabeths will be killed before this senseless slaughter stops? Why do we keep killing our children? There is no physical pain that compares to the pain of losing a child. Do whatever it takes.
Chemistry class led me to a life of crime. I catch murderers, rapists, and thieves with a microscope. Help your daughter become a scientist. Instead of a tea set, get her a chemistry set. Look at the boring job I got from being a science nerd. Expect the best from a girl. That's what you'll get.
I'm Arlene Herson, and I'm speaking with Patricia Neal here at Regine's. We've been making reference all through the show to a movie called An Unremarkable Life, and I keep saying, how could that be for such a remarkable woman? I have seen the movie. I enjoyed it tremendously. You co-star with Shelley Winters. Can you give us a little background?
It's a very good film, and I think that everyone who is watching this program should go to see it immediately. It really is good. It's, we're two women getting older, and she was married, Shelley was married in it, and she had a child, produced a child, but I had never been married, and I was in the war, and we live together now. And then I meet a man. I crash my little car, and I meet a man who works in the filling station, and love happens, and it's really good, and I think people would love to see it.
You know, it is a good movie, and I have to say, when you say you're two older women living together, in the movie, as you meet this man, who is Oriental, and that's part of the story, you get younger. You get younger, and you get zippier, and you walk along, and there's this whole new life open to you that you never had at that time in your life.
That's right. One has got to open. I think it's good.
So it's almost like real life now, with all these new things, being single and all these, who knows what romance is out there. But however, in this movie, you're having this wonderful time, and you're now exposed to something different in your life, something wonderful. But your sister, who you're living with, Shelley Winters, she doesn't think it's so great.
No. And she hates it.
As a matter of fact, we have a clip of, actually, I think this is toward the very end of the movie.
Really toward the end, yes.
Okay, it's a confrontation between you and your sister, played by Shelley Winters.
When I decide to stand up to her, late in life.
Okay, we're going to take a look at the clip right now.
When have I ever had my way? Every day of your life, because I saw to it.
Meaning what?
Meaning that you have always had the freedom to come and go as you wanted to. I never did.
You had a home, a family.
I had nothing.
Oh, you had Charlie. He loved you. And Mary Alice, she loved you.
I had obligations and responsibilities.
And you think I didn't?
Frances, you don't know what a responsibility is.
How dare you? How dare you? No, I won't. I won't say mean things no matter what. You know, everything in this house is theirs. The furniture, the silver, the dishes, everything. You have great-grandchildren, and loved or unloved, they are a part of you. And me? Well, what do I have? I have no children, no memories of a special love, no great accomplishments, not even my job. Well, I wasn't a bad teacher, but not a remarkable one. In fact, I have led a most unremarkable life, and when I die, my death will pass unnoticed. All my life, I've done exactly what was expected of me. I voted, I paid my taxes, I cared for my father, then my mother, and here I am. Here I am. That man, with his yellow skin and low-class ways, wants me to go away with him. He wants me. Me, Frances McElhaney, with my bad joints and my bad eyes. He wants me. Well, I'll be damned if I let this last chance slip away.
Wow, that was a dynamite clip. But you say in that clip that you're not going to let this opportunity slip away.
No.
But I would think...
Because it had, for many years, it had, but I'd had enough.
Yeah, okay, but in real life, don't you feel that way about all the things that happen to you and that are going to happen, that take advantage of it?
I do, you're right, And I believe in, but I think, you know, to live, don't not live. It's a gorgeous thing, and you only have one time to live, and I love it.
Yeah, it's true. Well, actually, the movie gives a wonderful inspiration for people to live their life and to go on and to do what they want to do. But Patricia Neal now, you are living your life. You're doing so much. You look so wonderful. You have a house, I hear, in Martha's Vineyard.
Oh, yes, Martha's Vineyard is very good in Edgartown.
Okay, and grandchildren?
Grandchildren, I have 3 granddaughters and 1 grandson. And it's just beginning,
Yeah, and how is your son, the son who was
Oh,
brain damaged?
he is a delightful boy. I really love him. And he lives in England with his father, and he plays great billiards, if you know what that means, and he drives a great car, and he works, and he's really a honey of a boy. And I hope you will meet him before life goes by.
Me too. Well, he's got a honey of a mother.
Oh.
And I have to say, I thank you for sharing your story. I mean, the story of your stroke, we just touched on a tiny little bit, but there's the Patricia Neal Rehabilitation Center.
Yes. Oh, yes, in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's a very good hospital.
And you go all over the world. You speak to people. You make speeches to other people. You are an inspiration to other people who have had strokes, who have disabilities. If they have done it, if you have done it, they can do it. And I thank you very much.
Thank
for
you.
spending some time with us and for sharing with us.
Thank you so much. Shake hands.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope that you have enjoyed the time that we've spent here with Patricia Neal. I know that I certainly have, and I hope you'll join us again next week. Meantime, good night. Hope to see you then.